For years, Joan believed her restless nights were just part of aging. She'd fall asleep fine, but wake at 2 or 3 a.m., unable to drift back. Her doctor dismissed it as normal. But what followed wasn't: increased forgetfulness, confusion with daily tasks, and difficulty remembering appointments. What if disrupted sleep wasn't just a symptom, but an early warning? I'm Dr. Emily Carter, geriatrician with 15 years of experience supporting older adults through science-based strategies for healthy aging. Here on Wellness 60 to 100, I simplify the complex changes of aging so you can make informed choices for a sharper, stronger future. In today's episode, we uncover a critical truth: changes in sleep patterns after 60 may be an early signal of future memory decline, and potentially one of the first neurological red flags for cognitive impairment. Research now shows that disruptions in your sleep-wake rhythm, even subtle ones, can interfere with the brain's ability to remove toxins, consolidate memories, and protect neurons long-term. In fact, chronic sleep fragmentation has been linked to the early buildup of amyloid plaques, a hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. But here's the good news: spotting the signs early gives you power. We'll explore why sleep changes happen with age, what they mean neurologically, how to distinguish normal shifts from risk signals, and most importantly, the daily steps you can take to protect your brain starting tonight. Let's break it down. As we move past 60, many adults notice that their sleep no longer feels the same, and it's not just about going to bed earlier. You might find yourself waking up multiple times a night, struggling to fall back asleep, or feeling tired even after what seemed like a full night's rest. These aren't random disturbances. They reflect a deeper shift in how your brain controls sleep. Sleep isn't one continuous state. It moves in cycles, from light sleep to deep sleep, and finally into REM, the dream phase. What many people don't realize is that after age 60, the proportion of deep and REM sleep tends to shrink significantly. Deep sleep, the phase responsible for physical recovery and memory storage, becomes harder to maintain. REM sleep, crucial for mood balance and cognitive processing, often arrives later in the night and becomes shorter. As a result, sleep feels lighter and less refreshing. This isn't just because we're older. Our internal clock, the brain's circadian regulator, becomes less responsive to external cues like daylight. At the same time, melatonin production drops, and many older adults are less active during the day, further weakening the sleep-wake rhythm. Health issues like chronic pain, nighttime urination, or even side effects from medications can fragment sleep even more. Why does this matter? Because these subtle shifts are linked to real neurological consequences. Studies show that poor sleep architecture, especially loss of slow-wave sleep, is directly tied to reduced memory consolidation and impaired brain detoxification. Over time, disrupted sleep increases the risk of developing cognitive issues, including early-stage dementia and emotional instability. In fact, researchers now believe that changes in sleep patterns often appear years before more obvious memory problems surface. If you consistently wake up tired, experience irregular sleep cycles, or find your memory slipping more than usual, it may not be coincidence. Track your sleep patterns. Reduce evening screen time, increase morning light exposure, and keep a consistent bedtime. These changes may seem small, but they can restore deeper sleep and protect long-term brain function. And we're just getting started. The next sleep pattern isn't loud or obvious, but its impact on memory is just as critical. Waking up several times a night may seem harmless. A quick trip to the bathroom, a glance at the clock, maybe a few minutes of tossing and turning. But when these interruptions become routine, they begin to erode one of the brain's most vital overnight tasks: memory consolidation. You may still log 7 or 8 hours in bed, but if your sleep is fragmented, your brain never completes its full restorative cycle. During uninterrupted deep sleep, especially in the slow-wave phase, the brain replays and organizes the information you gathered throughout the day. It's here that short-term memories are sorted and transferred into long-term storage, a process known as memory consolidation. But this doesn't happen on command. It requires continuity. Each time you wake up, the brain must restart its descent into deep sleep, and too many disruptions can prevent you from ever reaching the depths required for true memory retention. For adults over 60, the consequences can be subtle at first: forgetting appointments, misplacing keys more frequently, or struggling to recall words mid-conversation. These early signs are often brushed off as normal aging, but mounting research suggests they may reflect the brain's growing struggle to encode new memories during fragmented sleep cycles. The problem compounds when poor sleep becomes chronic. A 2020 study from the Washington University School of Medicine found that even short-term sleep fragmentation was associated with increased buildup of beta-amyloid, the sticky protein linked to Alzheimer's disease. In other words, the more your sleep is broken, the more your brain struggles to clean itself and process memory effectively. What makes matters worse is that many sleep interruptions go unnoticed. You might not even remember waking up, but your brain does. These microarousals, caused by pain, temperature shifts, light exposure, or even noise, jolt your brain out of deeper phases, denying it the continuity it needs to heal. Improving sleep fragmentation doesn't require sleeping longer. It requires sleeping more efficiently. Create a dark, cool bedroom environment. Avoid caffeine afternoon. Limit alcohol, which disrupts REM sleep later in the night. Consider magnesium-rich foods to support relaxation. The key takeaway? Memory protection doesn't just happen in the classroom or at the doctor's office. It happens quietly, during undisturbed sleep. And fixing fragmentation may be the most powerful brain upgrade you never knew you needed. You might remember dreams from decades ago, yet struggle to recall yesterday's conversation with your daughter. That disconnect often starts in REM sleep, the vivid dream phase where the brain files emotional memories and smooths out stress responses. After 60, however, REM fragments and shortens, leaving the mind to wake feeling unrefreshed and emotionally off-kilter. REM sleep begins about 90 minutes after you drift off, repeating in longer bursts toward dawn. In this stage, the brain's limbic system, the network that labels experiences as joyful, scary, or sad, lights up, while stress chemicals like norepinephrine switch off. This chemical silence is crucial. It allows the hippocampus to catalog the day's emotional events without re-triggering anxiety. When REM is cut short by frequent awakenings, bright bedroom lights, or late-night screen use, that filing job stalls. Emotional memories remain raw, scattered, and harder to retrieve coherently the next day. Researchers at the University of California, Berkeley, tracked adults aged 65 and up and discovered that those who spent less than 15% of the night in uninterrupted REM showed markedly poorer recall of emotionally charged stories just 24 hours later. Even more striking, their brain scans revealed diminished connectivity between the amygdala, emotion hub, and prefrontal cortex, logic center, a pattern linked to both depression and early cognitive decline. Why does REM crumble with age? Declining acetylcholine levels, common medications, especially certain blood pressure drugs and antihistamines, and evening alcohol all suppress this stage. Add in shifting circadian rhythms that push seniors toward earlier bedtimes, and REM, which prefers the pre-dawn hours, is squeezed into a shrinking window. The fallout isn't just forgotten dreams. Blunted REM means difficulty absorbing new emotional experiences, overreacting to minor stress, and struggling to learn from mistakes, because the overnight, emotional edit never completes. Loved ones may notice irritability or flat mood long before memory lapses become obvious. Protecting REM starts with consistency. Keep bedroom lights below 30 lux 2 hours before bed to cue melatonin release. Replace late-night TV with quiet reading under amber bulbs. If medication timing allows, shift REM-suppressing drugs to morning. Finally, aim for 5 minutes of gentle sunrise exposure. Early light anchors the circadian clock, freeing the end-of-night slot for extended REM. When REM is restored, emotional memories integrate smoothly, mood stabilizes, and the brain wakes calm, ready to form new memories, an often overlooked shield against cognitive decline. Most people know the body has a lymphatic system to clear waste. But few realize the brain has its own version, the glymphatic system, and it only runs when you're deeply asleep. This powerful cleansing mechanism flushes out cellular waste, including beta-amyloid and tau proteins, the very compounds that accumulate in Alzheimer's disease. The catch? Even mild sleep disruption can put this detox system into hibernation, letting toxins build quietly for years. During deep, non-REM sleep, brain cells shrink by up to 60%, creating channels for cerebrospinal fluid to wash through and carry away debris. Think of it like a nighttime car wash for your brain. The glymphatic system works most efficiently when sleep is uninterrupted and follows a regular rhythm, ideally between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., when slow-wave sleep is at its peak. As we age, however, the reduction in deep sleep severely limits this cleaning cycle. Adults over 60 often experience more shallow sleep and frequent awakenings, which fragment the glymphatic process. Even brief disruptions, like tossing in bed, noise from a partner, or sleeping with the TV on, can be enough to interfere. Over time, this allows metabolic waste to linger, slowly damaging brain tissue and impairing the networks responsible for memory storage and retrieval. In fact, studies have found that reduced glymphatic clearance is linked not only to memory loss, but also to emotional dysregulation and brain fog. One study from the University of Rochester Medical Center showed that even a single night of fragmented sleep significantly reduced amyloid clearance in healthy adults, suggesting that the impact may be cumulative and immediate. So how can you help your glymphatic system do its job? First, sleep on your side. Research shows lateral sleep position improves brain drainage compared to back or stomach sleeping. Second, reduce alcohol in the evening, as it suppresses deep sleep. Third, keep your sleep schedule consistent. A 10 p.m. bedtime aligns best with natural brain detox rhythms. Improving this overnight detox process isn't just about feeling rested, it's about protecting long-term brain function. When you give your brain the stillness it needs, it repays you with clarity, sharper memory, and reduced risk of future cognitive decline. And it all starts with protecting your most overlooked brain cleanser, deep sleep. Have you ever felt off after staying up too late or waking up at the wrong hour? That's your circadian rhythm, your body's internal clock, struggling to reset. After 60, this natural rhythm begins to drift, and the consequences go far beyond fatigue. Chronic disruption of the circadian system doesn't just affect when you sleep, it increases inflammation in the brain, quietly damaging neurons and raising long-term risk for cognitive decline. Your circadian rhythm governs nearly every biological function, from hormone release to immune regulation. It operates on a 24-hour cycle, anchored primarily by light exposure. In healthy adults, morning sunlight triggers cortisol production, which boosts alertness, while darkness prompts melatonin release to initiate sleep. But with aging, the brain's central clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, becomes less sensitive to these light cues. This weakens the day-night signal, resulting in delayed or fragmented sleep cycles. When the rhythm becomes misaligned, for example, sleeping at inconsistent times or being exposed to artificial light late into the evening, the body produces stress signals at the wrong time of day. Over time, this mismatch leads to increased levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines in the brain. These are the same inflammatory markers found in early Alzheimer's disease, linked to slowed processing, poor memory retention, and reduced attention span. The situation worsens if the disruption continues unchecked. For older adults, irregular circadian patterns are now recognized as an independent risk factor for neurodegenerative disease, even without other health problems. Shift workers, frequent travelers, and retirees with irregular schedules all experience faster cognitive aging when the sleep-wake cycle is unstable. Fortunately, restoring rhythm doesn't require major life changes, just consistent, deliberate habits. Get 10 to 15 minutes of natural sunlight within 1 hour of waking. Dim indoor lighting after sunset and avoid blue light from phones, tablets, and TVs at least 90 minutes before bed. Stick to a stable sleep schedule, even on weekends. And build daytime activity, including walking or gardening, to reinforce wake time cues. Circadian health isn't just about energy, it's about memory, clarity, and protection from brain inflammation. In a world of artificial light and chaotic schedules, returning to rhythm may be one of the most powerful ways to slow cognitive aging, naturally, and starting today. A short afternoon nap can feel like a luxury, a gentle recharge in the middle of the day. But for adults over 60, napping isn't just a habit, it can be a reflection of how the brain is coping with poor nighttime sleep. The question is, are naps helping restore energy, or silently signaling something more serious? Research shows that occasional, brief naps, especially those lasting 20 to 30 minutes, can boost alertness, support mood, and even enhance learning. In fact, cultures with built-in siesta traditions often report better heart and brain health outcomes. However, for older adults, the picture is more complex. When naps become long, frequent, or poorly timed, they may do more harm than good, particularly for brain function. Excessive daytime napping has been linked to increased risk of cognitive impairment. A 2022 study published in Alzheimer's and Dementia followed over 1,000 seniors and found that those who napped more than an hour a day were significantly more likely to develop early signs of dementia, even after adjusting for other health conditions. These naps weren't the cause of brain decline, but rather a warning sign. The brain, unable to rest effectively at night, was compensating during the day. The problem is circular. Poor nighttime sleep leads to increased daytime fatigue, which leads to longer naps, which further disrupts the sleep-wake rhythm, and the cycle continues. Long naps, especially after 3 p.m., reduce sleep pressure at night, making it harder to fall and stay asleep. This fragmentation reduces deep sleep and REM, weakening memory consolidation. So what's the solution? Timing and duration. Keep naps to 20 to 30 minutes, ideally between 1 o'clock and 2:30 p.m., when the body naturally dips in alertness. Avoid napping after 4 p.m., and never in front of a TV with blue light exposure. If you feel the need to nap longer or more than once daily, it's worth exploring underlying sleep issues, such as sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, or undiagnosed insomnia. When used wisely, daytime naps can restore energy and sharpen cognition. But when overused or mistimed, they may quietly undermine brain health. The key is balance, using rest to support your sleep cycle, not replace it. With intention and structure, napping becomes a tool, not a trap, on your journey to healthy aging. Ignoring changes in your sleep patterns after 60 may seem harmless at first, just an extra nap here, a restless night there. But over time, these subtle shifts can quietly erode the foundation of your brain's health. When sleep becomes shallow, fragmented, or misaligned with your natural rhythm, the consequences aren't just daytime fatigue. They include poor memory retention, emotional instability, and accelerated brain aging that often goes unnoticed until it's too late. Research now confirms what many older adults have sensed for years. Disturbed sleep is not just a symptom of aging, it's a signal. A signal that your brain may be struggling to detox, process memories, and regulate inflammation. If left unchecked, these early disruptions can evolve into more serious issues like mild cognitive impairment, mood disorders, or even early-stage dementia. But here's the hopeful part: you can act now, and small, consistent changes matter more than you think. Start by anchoring your circadian rhythm with morning light and regular sleep times. Cut back on late-day caffeine and alcohol. Keep naps short and strategic. Create an environment that promotes real, restorative rest, cool, dark, quiet, and screen-free in the evening. As a geriatrician, I've seen firsthand how addressing sleep early can delay or even reverse mild memory issues. You don't need sleeping pills or drastic changes. What you need is awareness, and a willingness to treat sleep as a pillar of your brain's defense system. I'm Dr. Emily Carter, and here at Wellness 60 to 100, we believe that aging well isn't about resisting time, it's about working with your biology, wisely and consistently. If this video helped clarify how sleep affects your memory, consider sharing it with someone you care about. Subscribe for weekly, science-based strategies that help you age with energy, clarity, and confidence. Your brain doesn't need perfection. It needs rhythm, rest, and the right signals, starting tonight. Sleep well, age strong.